How's it going? Today we are talking about the CFC unit from Nuke Performance. So this is a drop-in piece that goes into most fuel cells. And what it does is it combines the surge tank into the top of the fuel cell, allowing you to hook up both your lift pumps and the pumps that will feed the motor into one unit. So let's walk through it together. We have the plate that's currently blocked off for a fuel level sender. It's a really nice CNC piece, as all the Nuke stuff is. The finish is absolutely incredible. And then here we have the vent. So one thing about the vents is I'm going to say when you flip over, not if you flip over. When you flip over, if you look at the other side, there's actually a ball in here, which prevents their from being fuel that ever will come out. So if the car, let's say, goes upside down, there's a little ball that flips into there and prevents fuel from going outside the vent and leaking out in the case of an accident. Next up, we have the power and the ground for the lift pump. And the way this works is that when you go on the other side, you'll see that there's a long mounting bracket that puts the lift pump in the bottom of the fuel cell. So this screws in as so. They provide you with a clamp to put your the lift pump that you'd like. We're using a DW300, which is actually a DW300C as a lift pump. It's a smaller Deechworks pump, and that gets the fuel kind of out of there. And with a hose, it'll go into this surge tank area of the unit. So the hose connects into the pump and goes into the surge tank area. And next to that, we have the fuel fill, obviously. So again, amazing fitment on the definition, and the attention to detail is absolutely incredible. But yeah, here we have the fill, and the fill also has the same type of system, so that in case the car ever doesn't find itself with the rubber side down, this little flap will seal it. And the idea is so that the fuel just doesn't go pouring out. This has this part that will help it from that, and then also has a cap here. Just an added measure of safety. From there, we have the return inlet. So this is when you have the return line coming into the system. So if you run a semi-deadhead or a return system, from here you will have fuel going out into a pressure regulator, and there will be a return that will go back into the surge tank normally. And since the surge tank is in the fuel cell in this scenario, if you notice that return goes straight into the surge tank, making sure that it's always full. Next to that, we have the power setup for the pumps that will fuel the motor. So there's a place for two pumps. This is set up for DW400s. That's the pumps that we run in our comp cars. And they just thread into that. And you can see that that just sits right above the feed. And instead of having an external Y like some people do, the Y is actually built into this unit so that the pumps mount here, they feed these two ports, and then there's one feed. And with that, like I mentioned before, you have two separate power legs for each pump. It allows you to just put the pumps on a separate fuse, and if you have a PDM, you can also monitor amp draw to make sure that both pumps are still staying healthy. It's a little bit easier and cleaner to have them on separate legs. And from there, that is pretty much the completion of our CFC unit from Nuke Performance. Altogether, it's on par with all the rest of the Nuke stuff. It's absolutely incredibly put together and designed, and the thought that goes into just the little intricacies, making sure that as much as it's serviceable, but at the same time compact and put into one package, and also looks really cool. So take a look. CFC unit from Nuke Performance.